Roppstar gang, what up, what up? Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Training camp is finally here. We got some stuff to discuss, actually, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot to discuss. Again, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Again, do me a favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button on your way in and on your way out. Happy Monday. I hope everyone has had a blessed start to your Monday, as I feel like I have. All right. I can't complain too much. Okay. But shout out to everyone in the chat. Eric Blair, what's good, man? We got 31 people already here. Make sure you guys get in the chat. Love to hear y'all's thoughts as we go throughout today's some of the stuff we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss, obviously, some news that's came out. There has been some injury updates. There's been also some workouts that have happened with us. And we're going to talk about maybe bringing in Noah Fant. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to be talking about ESPN came out with the strengths and weaknesses of each and every team. Basically ranking. Well, they came up with ranking the 2025. Ranking the NFL rosters, best projected starting lineups. And so they did that. So we're going to discuss that as well tonight. So, again, I appreciate everyone tuning in on tonight's live stream as we go throughout tonight. I hope you guys like the new layout, man. I hope you guys like the new layout we got here. Shout out to BetUS sponsorship of the Roppstar Reports. Sign up for free today. Get 125% bonus on your first 3 bets up to $2,000, but bet responsibly. Okay. All right. Without further ado, let's dive right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you guys being here tonight. All right. Where am I at here? We want this. All right. Let's start off with this right here. Actually, I'm going to put it in this view, and that is way better. And actually, I'm going to edit the view real quick. That should be fine there. And that should be fine right there. Update layout. There we go. Oh, yeah. Now we're rocking with it. All right. So, as you can see here, and I'm going to zoom in on this because you guys probably can't really see that well, but we'll zoom in on it a little bit better. Y'all should see that, right? Oh, you definitely see it now. All right. So, the Panthers actually hosted like 14 different guys today, but this was the start of it. So the Panthers are kick the tires on tight end Tyler Mabry, others ahead of training camp in this. They're not wasting any time to fill potential gaps here ahead of training camp. Right now, as of right now, the rookies show up today. Basically, all they're doing is going through orientation. They're doing walkthroughs, and they're getting in another playbook. That's kind of what the first day is for the rookies. Okay. As for today, Mike K came out of Charlotte Observer. The team is hosting a modest batch of free agents for workouts this week. Headlined by Tyler Mabry, tight end. The rest of the group, mostly depth option, camp bodies. The roster has to hit, the roster has to hit 90 somehow. So who is Tyler Mabry? I did some research on him. Obviously, he's not a household name, but he's not a nobody either. You're talking about when you look about Tyler Mabry, he's a 6'3", 247-pound tight end. Entered the league in 2020 as an undrafted free agent. Was really a journeyman. College career was split between Buffalo and Maryland. Since then, he's hung around the NFL fringes, spending time in Seattle's practice squad and active roster for parts of like 4 seasons. Statistically, don't get too excited. He's only logged 1 catch in the NFL, and it was a 7-yard touchdown back in 2022. But here's what makes him relevant to the Panthers is that he knows the system, right? He obviously was around when Dave Canales was there. And, of course, offensive coordinator Brad Ezick and tight ends coach Mac McPherson, which obviously you see here. Translation, he won't need a crash course in the playbook. And then right now with Tommy Tremble on the pup list, the tight end depth chart is definitely in a flux. Familiarity is definitely valuable commodity. As worth noting, Mabry played nearly 80% of his NFL snaps on special team. That's basically code for he's not going to see the ball, but I'll throw my body around on the kickoff coverage if it keeps me on the roster and on a contract, right? But coaches love guys like this in August. But yeah, as you can see, also they brought in corner, which we'll get into more of those guys. I have the full list of the guys, and I'll pull that up here shortly. But they also brought in a guy named corner Nick Whiteside. He's a lesser known defensive back who likely needs to flash on special teams to even sniff this practice squad. As for outside linebacker, former UT Chattanooga standout with a decent length, but little NFL experience. And then, of course, if anybody can remember, outside linebacker Kenny Dyson, who actually played 2 games for us last season, mostly on special teams. He is 24, has some familiarity with the organization, could be viewed as a known quantity when it comes to filling in the depth chart. Okay, when it comes into Philly depth chart. But let's be honest, none of these names are likely to light up the training camp headlines. Okay, guys, like let alone make that 53 roster. I think these workouts serve a very real purpose, really giving the team emergency options and fostering competition and covering its bases before injuries, right? And that's really it. They're trying to fill the roster up with guys. All right. But why does this matter if it doesn't feel like it does? Because I know that when these types of things come out, it doesn't really matter. No, not really. But here's the thing. No one's pretending these are splash moves. These are workouts that are football equivalent of window shopping at a hardware store. You're not building a mansion, but you might find a screw that keeps your roof from collapsing, right? For this Panthers team, who are still rebuilding, after 2 years ago being 2-15, then last year going 5-12. These are small, behind the scenes decisions that help stabilize a locker room. That's what this is. Having the right bottom of the roster guys, special teams, lifers, system savvy backups, locker room glue guys can quietly make a difference in how a team survives the grind of a 17 season. Everybody else is locked in on these other guys like Bryce and T-Mac or how these defensive rookies look, but keep in mind someone like a Tyler Mabry could be the guy making the key block on a game-winning field goal week 6, right? That's the way I look at these guys, right? You never know. You never know what you're going to get. Life's like a box of chocolate, man. Let me go back to some other stuff here that I've already I've got together here. So here is the full list of guys today, full list of pre-training camp. Debo, the one that sticks out to me, of course, is Debo Williams. It might be a homer move by me, but 14, basically they brought in 14 free agent workouts ahead of training camp. This is not a meet and greet. Today was more of a last chance showcase because if you're working out for the roster spot in late July, odds are you're trying to claw your way back into someone's depth chart. Anyone's really. So as you can see, this is what we're looking at here. There are not big name signings here. Right? These are not big name signings. These are fringe players, late rounders, undrafted free agents, waiver wire veterans who are trying to extend their NFL careers. That being said, this is the exactly type of volume the Panthers need to explore, especially if key injuries Depth questions loom over a roster still in a full rebuild mode. Tight ends are on alert. I mean, you got a guy you got Justin Ball in here. Again, we talked about Tyler Mabry. You got Graham Walker on this list. Which isn't surprising, given the fact that Tommy Trimble is currently on that on the active / pup list, and that thins an already shallow tight end room. Okay. Now, again, we already talked about how Tyler Mabry has those connections with the coaching staff. Of course, Kenny Dyson already having familiarity here. But yeah, this is what we're looking at. To me, the most intriguing one, again, for me, is going to be Debo Williams out of these guys. I mean, Debo Williams last year, besides Demetrius Knight, was definitely and Bam Martin Scott. I think Debo Williams was very underrated for the Gamecocks last year. All right. Debo Williams is a guy who is a thumper. I thought when watching the Gamecocks last year, I thought Debo Williams was the best linebacker in this room until Demetrius Knight just lit it up. Bam Martin Scott started coming along later on in the season, in my opinion. But Debo Williams was projected to be the best, linebacker on that team at the time. So the most intriguing one is definitely Debo Williams. Some of these guys I really don't know. Names sound familiar, but nobody that really stands out to me that I'm like, besides Debo, that I'm like, he's a stud. Now, if anybody on this list that you know that could be an absolute sleeper, please shout it out in the chat, because I'm not, again, I'm only really familiar with Debo. I know a little bit about JJ Weaver the linebacker out of Kentucky. And the Jalen Allen defensive end out of Memphis does seem familiar. And really, that's really it. That I kind of have familiarity with. But again, Debo Williams, though, I want to go back to him real quick. I'm trying to look up his. I'm trying to look up really more. I'm trying to really get a better understanding of him. Or I'm trying to find something that kind of gives you all a better understanding of him. Because I think Debo is going to be an interesting one. Debo ran a 4.8740 at the pro day, ran a 4.4 on a shuttle run, 7.7 on the 3-cone drill, logged a 9.4 broad jump, 31.5-inch vertical. But during that pro day, he did have also a 225 bench press of 32 reps. So definitely that's 6 more reps than any linebacker at the NFL Combine. I mean, he had 27 starts, over 225 tackles, 18 tackles for a loss, 3 sacks, 4 pass breakups, 8 quarterback hurries. His best season came in 2023. He did earn first all-team SEC honors, recorded 113 tackles, third most in the SEC. His tackling numbers dipped last season as he finished it with 63, but that's probably because of Bam Martin Scott and having also Demetrius Knight. But his overall numbers have shown that what he is capable of. So there's a little bit of background on Debo Williams for you guys. What's good, Eric? Appreciate you joining. Underground West, what's good? Appreciate you. Hayden, what's up, man? Appreciate you coming through. SC Panthers boy 803. What is good, my guy? And Kevin, what's good? How are you? Appreciate you coming through. Not much on these guys. Not much on these guys. If any of these guys sound familiar to you, shout them out in the chat. Besides Kenny Dyson, I know who Kenny Dyson is, and of course Debo Williams. But any of the other guys, y'all have any background on them? Hey, let me know. I might have to do some research on these guys. Let's see what the comments say in here. Is there any comments besides that one comment? Yeah, that's it. JJ Weaver's such a great dude on and off the field. Spend some time with him. Okay. Sounds like JJ Weaver's a nice guy. JJ Weaver. All right. Let's bring up something else that I want to talk about tonight as well, which is this. There is some other news. Okay, we are going to be opening up camp with 3 players sidelined. Okay, including obviously starting, of course, Tommy Tremble. We all know that. But we are coming off with Dan Chesnia has also hit the PUP list, which I was just talking about him being a sleeper for this wide receiver room, but it is minor. The team was vague at first, but did not disclose the injury. Later on, obviously, Alex Zietlow, Charlotte Reserves, later confirmed it is a calf issue. It's not considered serious. Chesnia isn't here. I mean, he isn't here for his hands. He's a track guy. He's a core special teamer who played 6 games last season, logged most of his snaps on kick and punt coverage. If he's healthy by mid-August, he still has a chance to earn a roster spot on the back end. If not, he's replaced, and that's just going to be honest there. Third move is punter Sam Martin was placed on the active non-injury NFI list, according to really came out first by Joe Person. It's a hamstring strain. You're not expected to keep him out long. Martin is a veteran with a strong leg, a reliable track record. I mean, his absence shouldn't cause panic to anyone. But anytime a special team tweaks something soft tissue related, especially, right before camp, the coaching staff takes notice. Like no need to ring the alarm yet, but you don't want your punter out there limping into preseason games either. All right. So, but then that brings up to my next thing I want to talk about, because there is a free agent out there. By the way, Nyheim Hines has reached a contract agreement, but back on July 11th, he did work out in Charlotte. So pretty interesting there. This is interesting, though. 3 teams that could sign, according to NFL rumors, 3 teams that could sign Noah Fant. What's up, Sean J? Appreciate you, man. What's up, Hayden? I don't know if you heard me earlier. I said, what's up, man? Kevin with a $9 donation to basically $10. Shout out to you, Kevin. I appreciate you guys with that donation, man. Appreciate you, man, coming through with that $9.99 $10 donation. Appreciate you. All right, let's talk about this, because this could be something that we might need to look into. Now, the contracts, all that, obviously, we're going to have to talk about, right? Because, again, this tight end room has always been talked about. Like, I think let me be clear with this. I am okay going into this season with Mitchell Evans and Jadavion Sanders. Okay. I said that last night when we talked about when we were talking about, when we did the camp battles last night and we were talking about that, right? I am okay going into next season with the tight ends we have. Okay. I really am. I'm not opposed to taking a look at Noah Fant. I'm not opposed to maybe bringing him in. Okay. Again, of course, the price has to be right, and we'll talk more about that. But again, time and time again, man, I do have to. I hate to say this because I basically have I basically have just these fond memories of having Greg Olsen, and we just haven't had that guy who has fixed that tight end problem for years, right? Olsen's final season was 2019, and that position turned into a black hole ever since then in Carolina's offense. Between injuries, draft picks that didn't work out, flat out poor production, the tight end room has been more of a liability than an asset in the past couple of years. We all know that. But now, thanks to this whole convenient roster cut by the Seattle Seahawks, you have a chance to do something about it. Noah Fant, again, by the way, guys, is a former first-round pick, has a major athletic upside. He's got a track record of solid production. Most importantly, built-in connection with this coaching staff already, and he's only 27 years old. Okay? Now, I will want to be honest, though. This tight end room could still use some help. I'm not saying that I do believe going into the season, if we didn't make a move like this, I would still be okay, but I don't think that it would hurt, is what I'm getting at, right? Jadavion Sanders, Tommy Trimble's now out. Ian Thomas is gone. Felipe Franks is gone, right? You bring in Mitchell Evans, okay? All right. But let me put this into context last year, okay? You had Jadavion Sanders, you had Tommy Trimble, Ian Thomas, and Felipe Franks. Combined for all together last year, 60 catches, 595 yards, and 3 touchdowns across 17 games. Okay? So, again, it does not hurt to take a look at this roster and add another tight end. I mean, for context, let's go look at it last year. Travis Kelce had all those guys beaten by week 10. Of course, Jadavion Sanders showed flashes, but everyone else was either injured or ineffective or both. And then you sign Tommy Trimble to this 2-year, $10.5 million extension, which underwent back surgery in May, right? Ian Thomas, he's just practically been a ghost in the passing game for how long, right? He's practically been a ghost in the passing game. Mitchell Evans looks the part physically, but he hasn't played a single NFL snap, which leaves Sanders as the only known pass-catching option. Even that's based off, on a half of a rookie season. The reason why I think bringing in a guy like Noah Fant, I think it's the right player. I think it's the right time, and you got the right staff. Because here you got Noah Fant, freshly cut by the Seahawks in a cap-saving move. He's still in his prime. He's still productive and crucially familiar with this system because of Dave Canales and Brad Eason. Okay? Fant played under tight ends coach. Oh, and don't let me forget Pat McPherson, our tight ends coach. He played under Pat McPherson. He worked directly with both Dave Canales and Brad Eason. Again, so that familiarity matters, ladies and gentlemen. Fant wouldn't be learning on the field. He'd already knows the terminology, the formations, the expectation that gives him an instant advantage in a room full of rookies. And that's what we have. And you got one guy who's basically a rehabbing vet. When you go look at his when you go look at Noah Fant's production. So let's go look at Noah Fant's production real quick. So Noah Fant's stats right here. I mean, over the year, you're already like, here's the thing. Noah Fant in Denver, shit. You add that all up, he has over 1,900 yards and 10 touchdowns in Denver. That was in his 3 years there. 170 catches. Then in Seattle, over 130 catches, 1,400 yards, 5 touchdowns in 3 years with Seattle. He's got a 71.6 catcher rating. He's averaging nearly 600 yards per season, ladies and gentlemen. Year alone, the guy caught 48 passes for 500 yards on 64 targets while sharing snaps in which was a crowded Seahawks offense. Now, again, that's not Pro Bowl level stuff, okay? But it's far from anything Carolina has held on the field in 2023 and in 2024. Now, here's the thing. Why would this work in Carolina? Right? Why would this work in Carolina? Well, it would work in Carolina because, again, the familiarity. But if we're talking about cap space, for this guy, right? We're sitting on 18 plus million in cap space. So money isn't a major hurdle here. This isn't a flashy signing. It's a practical one. You sign Fant. And another thing, it wouldn't derail Sanders' development. It wouldn't crowd out Evans either. It certainly wouldn't make fans forget about Greg Olsen, but what it would do is give your quarterback, Bryce Young, a steady middle of the field target who can stretch the seam and take some heat off of the receivers. Could you imagine a guy like this who averages basically 500 yards, 600 yards a year, okay? Could you imagine a guy like that with Tedero McMillan and Xavier Legette, and then you got Adam Thielen coming across the seam in the slot? And again, you're talking about a guy. Let's go pull his size back up. And we've talked about Noah Fant before here. We've talked about Noah Fant before here. Where's his size at? You going to give me a size? Let me go look up Noah Fant. No, not ESPN. I think he's 6'5", 237 or something like that. Okay, 6'4". He's 6'4", 249. Okay. He's 6'4", 249. Could you, again, with a guy like this, okay, would give Bryce Young, again, a proven steady middle of the field target who can stretch the seam and take the heat off of those receivers. Young needs could use another safety valve here. Right? The offensive line's a top 10 unit now. The run game is is going to be, it could be top 10. I mean, I think that we've got one of the top, we definitely have a top 10 running back duo in the NFL right now, in my opinion. You got the wide receiver room who can create separation. Again, a guy like Noah Fant helps stabilize that short to intermediate route game. It gives defenses another threat to account for. And let's be honest, that gives another guy that Bryce Young could use on those 3rd and 6 possessions. A very nice lifeline. And again, Fant is not going to be, isn't the long-term solution, but he's a damn good short one. I mean, here's the thing. Dan Morgan has made it clear, ladies and gentlemen, he's not sentimental. He's aggressive. He's practical. He's focused on upside. You add Noah Fant, it checks every box. It's a scheme fit. It's a locker room familiarity, proven production, positional need. This is the type of a move you make before you start running 3 wide receiver sets on 2nd and goal because no one trusts the tight ends to block or catch. If the price is right and Fant still wants to be a meaningful contributor, Carolina would be foolish not to even test the market on this guy. I think that, and again, it would not take anything away from Mitchell Evans. It would not take anything away from the development of Jadavion Sanders. It would stabilize a tight end room, and Fant brings it. And for a front office that keeps preaching urgency, I think this is a no-brainer in late July right now. That's just me. What's good, Earl? Howard, what's good, man? Mister, what's good? What's good? Again, the guy's average basically 600 yards a year. Okay, again, is he going to be the next Greg Olsen? No. But again, he's got a lot of upside. He's 27 years old. He's 6'4", 249. He would stabilize this tight end room. I guess the question is then, what would we do with Tommy Tremble? I get it. But at the same time, I think Noah Fant would be better than Tommy Tremble. That's just me personally. I think Noah Fant is a better receiver and definitely a better blocker. And the guy's in his prime. And you could probably get him for a cheap price. And if anything, you probably could move on from Tommy Tremble. You could cut him. You could trade him. I'm sure someone would maybe you trade him for a 7th or 6th round pick. Who knows? But I would think that we would be stupid not to take a look or at least test the market on this guy. The way that it looks, though, with these 3 teams that on here, I guarantee you the Chargers get him, though. I guarantee you the Chargers sign this guy. I guarantee you. They go out and they sign this guy. The way I look at it. Now, let's move on. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream tonight. Again, make sure you do me a favor. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button as you on your way in or on your way out. Let's move on to what ESPN has been talking about, which was, so basically ESPN calls the Panthers wide receiver room a surprise strength, which says a lot about everything else. So ESPN came out with this article, and it was, ranking NFL rosters best projected starting lineups. All right, and I was reading it, and it says, obviously, we're ranked 30th in the NFL, but I mean, that's not great, but in the middle of that otherwise bleak evaluation, a surprising nugget emerged in front of my eyes, which was the wide receiver rooms were named the biggest strength. I mean, which I was totally surprised about. Basically saying that when you basically saying right there that it's not a proven group yet, but it's not the tire fire it was, a year, 2 years ago. Again, when you look at this roster, man, especially from a wide receiver standpoint, obviously they put up the projected starters up there as well. I wish this would go away. ESPN, do better, please. Do better. All right. So this is the projected starting lineup that they came up with right here. But let's talk about the wide receiver room because that they said that's the biggest strength. Okay. I'll say this. Tedero McMillan is a highly polished wide receiver. He is that wide receiver one prototype. Obviously, the production in Arizona speaks for itself. Does give Bryce Young a true number one wide receiver caliber target. Very smooth route runner with size, 6'5", good hands, red zone potential, right? As for Xavier Leggett last year, obviously showed a lot of flashes, but struggled with consistency, right? But the guy is, I mean, we know Xavier Leggett's built like a fucking linebacker. Like he runs like a gazelle. I think he's going to thrive this year because of the better offensive structure under Dave Canales, plus T-Mac obviously taking some pressure off of him. But again, you also got, don't forget about Jalen Coker. Again, I think this is a guy is an undrafted breakout last year. Again, surprised everyone with that 83-yard touchdown against, was it Dallas? That was Dallas, right? Or was that the Eagles that he had the 83-yard touchdown? It was against Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, right? But he's not just a fluke. I think he's going to be a reliable piece who's earned his place in the rotation. And then you got Adam Thielen, who's still productive, still reliable, now likely playing like a leadership-heavy wide receiver 4 role, who I think that's what's going to happen because he is 35. And sure, he still moves the chains and knows how to get open. But again, he's going to be a safety blanket. He's going to be a short yardage, red zone threat. He's still going to be a red zone threat in the short yardage situations, right, on the goal line. I think he's also going to be that safety blanket for, third downs. Okay. So the talent's here, right? Again, I've said it before. It's what Bryce Young does with it, right? But that's where this kind of goes into when you read this. It does bring in the Bryce Young factor because if the Panthers receiving group to ESPN they're saying that is our biggest strength, then it's time for Bryce Young to prove he can capitalize on it. And I've said that time and time again on here, right? We know the rookie year was tough. Last year started off bad, right? The rookie year was just poor protection, revolving door play callers, zero separation from receivers, right? Just a general lack of NFL caliber help, right? But then last year, started off bad, came back after, got benched by week 5, came back week 8 on, had a top 10 passer grading, right? Finished the year at top 10 passer grading. Finished the last 3 games with only with 10 touchdowns and 0 interceptions last year, right? He went 4-6 in those final 10 games, right? Showed some life at the end of last year. Better decisions, quicker decisions, more confidence, an ability to make something out of nothing, right? So he's got the actual supporting cast now. You're under the same head coach. You're under the same system. You have the top 10 offensive line unit. Again, I still think this offensive line unit is top 10. I still think that this running back room is top 10, right? So now Canales is designing an offense that plays to his strength, which is going to have to deal with his rhythm, his timing, and clean reads, right? You got a wide receiver room that can finally win routes. There are no more excuses. And again, this season is Bryce Young's opportunity to show whether he's the future, he's the franchise quarterback, or just another name on that long list of failed top 10 picks. And I hope that's not the case, right? But again, the reason why ESPN believes that we are 30th based off of reading this to me, I think the biggest thing for ESPN based off of reading most of this is that they think that this tight end room is a bit messy. I think they think that the run game, they're unsure on the run game, I guess, but based off of what I'm reading from this, but again, also the defense. I mean, you can see it right there. They're talking about the biggest weakness is the defense. We've just went through basically a mini rebuild, but they're not sure if we have a consistent enough pass rushers. That's why they gave us 30th, it seems like. So, but our biggest strength here is the wide receiver room. And I can't believe that I'm actually saying that coming from ESPN after what we had shit back in 2023. Right? What's up, Panther Scout 73? Thank you for coming through. I hope all is well. 18 more days until preseason. Yep. Definitely need to prove themselves. Ain't getting no extra hype from me this early. Learn that lesson. Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to overhype it. You don't want to overhype it. Let's be realistic with ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be realistic with ourselves. We've got over 46 people watching. We've got over 46 people watching, and we only have 17 likes. We only got 17 likes. We actually have a total of 72 watching between X and YouTube. So shout out to you guys. But let's get those likes up over there. Let's get the likes up over on the YouTube channel, man. We had over, I think, 60 likes last night on last night's stream. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to get 60 again. Y'all killed it last night. So a shout out to you guys in the chat and the people watching. But yeah, I mean, that's ESPN came out with that, which is pretty interesting. But I think let's dive into something else I want to talk about to you guys, because I think the biggest, we talked about battles last night. We talked about what else did we talk about? We talked about sleepers. I think the biggest thing going into this, though, to this training camp, and I really want to talk about this, is that I think the biggest storylines going into this is there's a few things here. Number one, the Bryce Young franchise guy. This is chapter 3, by the way, because this is the third year. We just talked about it a little bit, but the biggest storylines I'm looking into this training camp is definitely the Bryce Young, right? This is it, the franchise guy, right? Is he the franchise guy? This is chapter 3, year 3. Okay. All right. I think the buzz around him in this training camp will shift towards the tangibles, right? His tangible results. Arm strength, timing, and whether he's truly taking ownership of this offense. Bryce always looks good in training camp. Okay. We always see the highlights. I'm not going to be going, oh my God, did you see that throw? I'm going to give him credit because it's a nice throw. But this is a guy who cannot stall out in camp. It'll be time to sound the alarm if he does. I needed to see him thrive all camp long. I think he will, but he's got to also then, if he's thriving in camp, I also need preseason reps, Dave Canales. I need everybody from starters to second string to third string to practice squad. I don't give a fuck. Everybody should be on preseason. Everybody should be playing snaps in preseason. I'm tired of the non-preseason bullshit. We go through it we went through it. I mean, Bryce in his first year, I think, played one quarter. You know, I'm okay with that, but more than maybe one game. If you're only going to play him for one quarter, play for more than one. Then play him in more than one game. Give me two at least. But again, last year, like I said, Bryce Young, footwork improved, the decision making tightened up. He didn't flinch even as the losses piled up. Again, you're going in year 2 with the same staff, same scheme, and probably a better scheme now that Dave Canales kind of has a better understanding of Bryce, right? The talent that's around him now, way deeper supporting cast. Again, he's going to build that scheme up to Bryce's strengths, right? We've already seen that from early reports out of OTAs and the mini camps. There's already been suggested progress, particularly in his command of the huddle and the general leadership and presence. We've already seen that. Kendall comes in and says, I think they allude to guys not being in shape in seasons past come preseason in the blueprint. Sounds like they're trying to correct that. You're probably right, Kendall. I mean, that happens every year with a lot of players. I mean, shit, Deebo Samuel can't stay away from whatever it is because he always gains weight in the offseason. And then comes back and somehow he's like, he came out and said he's like 202 and he's at 8% body fat, which is wild. Which is absolutely wild. Corey comes in and says they just don't want the stars to get injury preseason play. I understand that, but it's all for me. We've seen it time and time again, Corey, that we come out here in week 1 flat every single time. Now, luckily enough, this year we have 2 joint practices, so that's good. But again, I still think that the reps matter in preseason because in time and time again, it has not worked out in our favor going into week 1. We just come out really flat. I think it matters. I really do. I think it matters. I think we need to come out here and preseason and play our starters. Play them at least for a full quarter in 2 games. That's all I'm saying. Or even put Bryce Young out there with the backups, especially him. Well, Corey, it's actually funny that you say that because a lot of players have came out and said that they actually prefer the joint practices, that helps them more than it does in the preseason games. I don't know if players are just saying that, but a lot of players have came out around the league and said that they actually prefer the joint practices, that they get more out of it than they do in the preseason games. So I don't know. But we've got guys out here saying that they get more out of it. So, but that's coming from the player's mouth. So it's interesting. Doesn't KC play their main people a lot in preseason? I'm not too sure, Panther Scout. That's a good question. Another storyline, though, again, guys, that I want to keep, definitely will be obviously keeping a close eye on is this wide receiver, that depth chart. Again, keeping my close eye on how that wide receiver room's going to shape out, especially through training camp. You got McMillan, wide receiver 1 upside, expected client. I mean, again, got Xavier Legette, a big body, fast rising guy as well. You got Thielen, dependable veteran. You got Coker, promising undrafted Jim. Hunter Renfrow, trying to get back to relevant again in the slot, right? Jimmy Horn Jr., guy who's been a Carolina Panthers fan favorite since he's got here. He's already turning heads. He's demanding reps. So this training camp is going to be interesting, right? I think it's going to be very interesting from this training camp standpoint. The wide receiver room is going to be obviously another storyline to stay tuned to. The edge rushing room. This is where hype meets reality for me. They didn't re-sign Jadeveon Clowney for a reason. They're betting on the youth, right? On Nick Scorton and Prince Umama-Yellen, right? Rookie edge rushers, though, to be honest with you, rarely dominate out the gate. And Carolina's offensive line, particularly tackles like Ike Ekwonu and Taylor Moton, aren't exactly pushovers in practice. I expect early growing pains from these guys, but if either rookie shows signs of disrupting plays in camp, the hype train will be unstoppable. Everybody's going to be talking about it. Again, we ranked near the bottom of the league last year in sacks. They're not looking. I'm not looking for all pros overnight, but they just need to show flashes of consistency, ladies and gentlemen, and signs that they didn't waste any of those premium picks. You know what I mean? And then, of course, we got a kicker competition, which I didn't mention last night. But not, you usually don't notice the kicker until he screws up. That's exactly what happened with Eddie Pinheiro, who, despite being mostly accurate, had a few untimely misses, limitations, and leg strength. So the Panthers move on, and now you've got this whole kicker roulette time with you got Matthew Wright, who's the veteran journeyman who's bounced around like a ping pong ball around this league. Doesn't exactly inspire long-term confidence, in my opinion. Then you've got Ryan Fitzgerald, who's an undrafted rookie. Many people pegged as the top kicker in this class, but big leg, solid pedigree, unproven under NFL pressure, right? This is one of those battles that will be overly documented on Twitter for sure. But in reality, this team is hoping one of these guys doesn't implode and the games actually count when the games actually count. So training camp is a lot of things, man. It's a lot of hope. It's a lot of chaos. It's a lot of often misleading too. Most of what happens between now and preseason kickoff will be forgotten by Halloween. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah. What's up, Walt? Appreciate you. Oh, wait, let's see. I missed Kendall's comment here. Bryce, rookie year, throws 2 picks to the same guy in game 1. Year 2, throws a pick in the first play of the game. Play that man in preseason. Exactly, Kendall. Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. What's up, Big Walt? Appreciate you coming through, my guy. You think they sold on the safeties on the roster? That's interesting. I'll say this. I think from the safety standpoint, it's not as bad as I think people think it is. Do I think, I guess the better question, am I sold on it yet? No, I'm not sold on it yet. I'm not sold on this secondary really either in the corner room, right? I said that when we broke down this training camp preview. Okay. I'm not sold on it. Okay. When you look at the safety room, besides Moehrig, when you look at, okay, let's talk about Lathan Ransom. They took him in the 4th round from Ohio State. I think Ransom is tough. I think he's smart. He comes from a big-time program, knows how to win championships. He's not flashy. He's disciplined and physical, right? I think he's likely at this point to start opposite of Moehrig, or at the very least rotate heavily. Now, when we talk about Damani Richardson, a guy who was an undrafted rookie last year, Richardson showed up when Carolina's secondary was falling apart last season. No, he started 5 of the 7 games he played in. He held his own, especially in the run support. But he's not a rangy coverage safety. But his assignment sound and tough traits, the safety group desperately needs, though. Nick Scott's a veteran. Scott brings special teams value, experience in a very green room. He's not going to push for a starting job. He's the kind of low maintenance that you keep around in case the wheels fall off. Right? But again, it's I mean, would you take Julian Blackmon though over Lathan Ransom or Damani Richardson right now? I guarantee you everybody in this chat though would say yes. Would you take Asante Samuel Jr. over Mike Jack? I think a lot of people in this chat would say yes. So, do you think they're sold on the safety roster? I don't know if they are, because why would you shop it? Why would you still be in the rumors? So are they sold on it? Even after they went and even after they drafted Lathan Ransom and got Tre'von Moehrig and signed Nick Scott to a 1-year veteran contract, they went out. We were rumored looking at Blackmon and Justin Simmons. So I don't think they're sold. I don't think they're sold on the corner room. Again, I will not be surprised if Carolina is going to go through this training camp, which they always do. They bring in guys, they cut guys. Who knows? Maybe some team cuts some guys. Maybe some team in the NFL cuts some. There's going to be some surprising cuts across the NFL. And if Carolina's not in on some of those surprising cuts that make sense for the Carolina Panthers, then I'm going to be furious. Because we see it time and time again, every training camp, there are always some surprising cuts from every team in the NFL. And there's no reason why the Carolina shouldn't be involved. That is one hell of a YouTube name, by the way, or a name for your TTV. Hey, it's RLG'd or I don't know. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but I'm just going to call you TTV. That's what I'm going to call you. Next year, we need to build our defense in the draft. If our offense can find a way to make plays, this year will tell us if Bryce is the guy, which I think he will be and should. Appreciate the comment, man. I think they'll build on the defense for sure, but it will come down if Bryce Young is the franchise quarterback. I can tell you right now, they might want to build the defense in that draft next year, but I guarantee you, if Bryce Young don't pan out, we will be one of the teams in the running looking at Lenore Sellers or Garrett Nussmeier or Drew Allard or Sam Levitt or Lenore Sellers. Carolina will be one of those teams looking at one of those quarterbacks next year, or Clay Klubnik, whoever. They will be looking for their quarterback if Bryce Young does not pan out this year. Does not have that breakout year. And he continues to struggle. Again, if he feeds off, like I said, if Bryce Young can feed off of what he did last year, he'll be fine. If he can feed off what he did last year, he'll be fine. Again, I'm middle of November to prove it to me. I'm not waiting till the end of the year. I'm just not. Not this year. I gave him 2 full years at this point. You're going into year 3. This should be your breakout year. Josh Allen did it. Other quarterbacks have done it in years past. So can he. He's got to do it. Defensive line is what I'm interested in too, stopping the run game. Yeah, the defensive line is interesting, man. When you look at the defensive line, I mean, the bottom line is that I mean, the bottom line with the defensive line is, and I'm glad you said that, is it looks better on paper, but mostly because they were so bad last year, it couldn't get worse. I think with the addition with Bobby Brown, the third, a healthy Derek Brown could fix a lot. I do think, though, it does. I think this defense still hinges on Derek Brown's health. I still think that, like, the depth is still not where I would want it to be. And I said it last night. You go look at the roster. There is a major drop-off after those top 4 guys. Derek Brown, Tershawn Wharton, Bobby Brown III, and A'Shawn Robinson. After that, there's a major drop-off. Because you got Tuttle, who's teetering on the edge of his seat to keep a job here. You got Jackson, who they drafted, Cam Jackson, who is unproven. Right? Krumeti's coming off an injury. And then outside of Harrison Hunt, there's no clear backup plan if anyone in that starting group goes down again. The problem is, for me, I'm worried that this group is one injury away from being exposed again. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. But again, it's something to think about. Do we know what Ransom was projected to be drafted? I had him, for me personally, I had him drafted in the 3rd round. I had him to the middle to high 3rd. And he fell to the 4th. So that's just how the draft board works sometimes, though. Check out Jack Henderson. Oh, I've checked him out. I mean, Jack Henderson to me, Big Walt, I mean, when I checked him out, I think at best, man, I mean, they're both, I mean, Jack Henderson's a hybrid safety linebacker type. That's what he is. Henderson can move around in sub packages. Very versatile, right? But I think he's more of a specialty. He has more of a special teams upside, or he could end up become a creative sub defensive role, possibly. But that's as far as I see him. Jimmy Horn Jr. is going to be a surprise. People, Xavier is going to prove McMillan is going to be our best wide receiver. Sure, Adam Thielen will be great. We have 2 great running backs with that revamped offensive line. There's really no excuses why we can't produce yards on offense. I don't disagree with you, TTV. I don't disagree with you. It comes down to Bryce Young. Plain and simple. I'm not sure what Double O Kane said hell no to, but hell no. That's what he said. He said hell no. I wish I had my hell no to the no. There you go. There you go, Double O Kane. I got you. I think CJ Stroud was the better pick over Bryce, but believe in Bryce. Jesse, really think we should consider a guy like Proctor from Bama to eventually replace Moton? Jesse, I don't disagree with you. That, again, Proctor is going to be a first-round pick. It really does come down to what we do in next year's draft. I really, truly believe this, too. I truly believe that it will come down to what Bryce Young does this year. That really will symbolize what we do in next year's draft. If Bryce Young has that breakout year, or even if he has the year that I expect him to have, which is over 3,800 yards, 25 plus touchdowns, 10 to 12 interceptions. If he has that type of year, okay, then yes, let's go get Proctor. I'm cool with that. But again, if he has a down year, it's Lenore Sellers, Kay Klubnik, Drew Allard, one of the guys. Garrett Nussmeier. it's one of those guys that you're looking at next year for sure. I don't think people saying Arch Manning, but Arch Manning, I don't think Arch Manning's going to come out next year. I don't. Because if you go watch, and Jeremy Joseph comes in and says Arch Manning, I don't see him coming out next year, ladies and gentlemen. I don't. Because the games that Arch actually looked good in was he played against two nobody teams. Nobody. He played like ULM and UTSA or some shit. The only games that he came in and looked good, those are only games he came in and looked good. The good thing is neither Derek Brown or Wanham is on the pup list. Yes. Wanham's right now questionable. We haven't really heard an update on that injury yet. I'm hoping that we get some type of update here soon on Wanham because, that kind of also is going to hinder what we see, I think, at training camp, right? So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I mean, Kendall, the good thing is it is a good thing that neither one of them are on the pup list. So. But not much going on as the start of training camp. We had some workouts. We had some injury updates. That's really it. No signings, but Noah Fant being rumored to possibly could become a Panthers, a Panther. Again, I'm not opposed to it. A guy who's averaged basically 600 yards a year. Again, can open up the middle of the field. Could be a nice safety blanket, take some pressure off of your wide receivers. I think it would be a smart move to take a look at. He can block in the run game as well. So other than that, guys, we've been live for over an hour and 11 minutes. I really appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor. Make sure you smash that like button on your way in, on your way out. We have over 40 people watching and only 28 likes. So 12 of you are slacking. Okay, 12 of you are slacking, okay? So let's make sure we get those likes up. Again, I'm going to be live all week as we go through this start of the training camp, man. So I think the veterans, if I'm not mistaken, show up tomorrow. So we'll hopefully we'll have some updates on that. So, all right, guys, I will see y'all tomorrow. As always, have fun, be safe. Love you guys. Keep pounding. I'm out. Peace.